Hello everyone, welcome to another review on the channel. This time it will be for Moonscars. Moonscars, it surprised me. It's one of the smoothest metroidvanias of 2022. You can just plug in and play, and every move you make in the game will be super satisfying. It's not without flaws, mind you, but it's also not afraid of taking risks and innovating in the genre. The truly best games to review are the ones that go unnoticed by the gamer masses. Perhaps because developers invested more into their own game than actual marketing, sometimes because it probably just doesn't justify a cost. But it is a shame that games like Moonscars don't have more visibility, despite still being very indie in most of its systems. There are parts that can rival built-in systems developed by AAA games. Now, as you know, for these type of reviews, we'll go over a few sections and we'll see where Moonscar stands in all of them. For the first section, we have NPCs and characters. There isn't a diverse cast in Moonscars, but the characters that are in it are incredibly well developed, and their storylines pay off at the end of the game. Character motivations and reasons to how they act are hard to perceive in the first half of the game, but as more gets revealed story-wise, the more the player will start to understand the different characters. In my opinion, the developers opted for quality instead of quantity. These are incredibly complex characters in a weird and fascinating world. Moonscars isn't all NPCs and characters. In terms of the main story and villains, the main story sees the player controlling Grey Irma. Grey Irma is a clayborne warrior that doesn't know who she truly is, or what happened in her past. The goal of the game is quite simple. Find the Sculptor and unravel the mystery of Grey Irma's existence. Even though it sounds simple, the story is actually quite intricate, and there is enough twists to make the player interested throughout its 15-hour each campaign. In a world where humanity has mostly fallen and new beings called claybornes built by the Sculptor rampage the different lands, Grey Irma is trying to find their spot in a ravaged world. Pretty unique storyline, was not expecting the depth, but it was a welcome surprise. Now, for progression systems and leveling. Even though Moonscar's leveling system is different from other Metroidvanias, it's only slight changes that keep it apart from the usual Metroidvania progression system. As you fight and kill enemies, the player will gain bone powder, which can be used to purchase memory fragments, in order to unlock new information on the characters and world. Bone powder can also be used to unlock new witcheries, or upgrade the ones already being used by the player. There is variety in witcheries, or skills, but don't expect a big skill tree, because Moonscar focuses more on upgrades than offering a varied set of skills. Aside from bone powder, the player will also find glands, which can be used to tone down difficulty after death. When dying, the player will enter the ravenous moon phase, or so it's called in the game, where enemies will hit harder and will have bigger HP pools. So you die, you go back to your fast travel point, and you also have this second punishment, which is the ravenous moon phase, where after you're dead, every enemy will hit harder and have a bigger HP pool. This is a cool mechanic. However, it can be countered quite easily by using a gland upon death to remove the Ravenous Moon effects glands drop in the game. They can also be used to increase bone powder percentage drop, gland percentage drop, and ichor percentage gain glands. For ichor, what is ichor? Ichor is directly correlated with witchery and skill use. The more witcheries the player uses on enemies, the more ichor it will consume. The player doesn't find a safe point in a map, there might be a time where they will have no more ichor to use and have to rely on their sword, their parry, and their special attack without any witcheries. Amulet stones can also be purchased as the player progresses further into the game, and these will grant stat boosts either to witcheries or overall stats like damage. It will be up to the player which 3 amulets they want to equip, as there are only 3 slots available. New traversal powers will also be progressively unlocked as the player faces new bosses or unlocks new maps. Although naming conventions are different, this is a Metroidvania at heart. There isn't huge innovation on dev's part of the progression system, but these are cool ideas that they can refine for a sequel or a new game. Now, in terms of the combat and gameplay, Moonscars is probably one of the smoothest and fluid combats I've ever seen in a Metroidvania, and I'm not exaggerating. Yes, I played Hollow Knight, I played Bloodstain, Castlevania, and I still swear by my statement. It helps that animations are top notch, and a cascade of blood and gore drops on the screen whenever you beat an enemy. Sound effects design also helps because they are superb, which also contributes to the combat system looking like it's super refined. This is truly Moonscar's best asset. Every time you click your mouse or use your attack button in the controller, it really feels like you yourself are swinging that sword. There is a parry button, and although it's not absolutely needed to beat the game or bosses, it feels satisfying when you are able to time enemy attacks. The inclusion of a special attack is also very welcoming and allows for breathing room when fighting bosses or large packs of enemies. Overall, I think Moonscars offers enough options in combat, but what truly shines is how fluid combos and overall combat feels. In terms of the role design and map, I think this is the most controversial area for Moonscars. Even though I love dark atmosphere, and this game has it, there isn't much tone or color variety in the different locations the player will be visiting, making new location unlocks less exciting as it feels like we already have explored the same location just a minute ago. It's hit or miss, really. Doesn't help that map navigation can be a bit poor, not due to the lack of fast travel or missing convenient traversal methods, but due to the map UI. It is way too pixelated, which will lead to the player not really knowing if they skipped something whilst they were exploring, and the player might feel lost at times. It's not good, it's really way too pixelated. In terms of enemies and difficulty, this is one of the shortest Metroidvanias in the market, but I don't think enemy variety suffers from this. There are enough different enemies with distinct abilities placed throughout the map, and although their design is pretty unique, they clearly lack in difficulty. This is also one of the easiest Metroidvanias out there, so if you are a bit more casual and you like the difficulty curve in, let's say, Hollow Knight, try out Moonscars, you'll probably be pretty happy with it. For ardent Metroidvania veterans, you'll be cruising through this one for sure. In terms of replayability, this is a Metroidvania, through and through, so replay value will highly depend on the player. For me, I like to play test different skills and builds, and although this game doesn't offer much in that area, it does have pretty unique combat system that will make me come back in the long run. Short-term replay value is very small, but there is some long-term replay value here. For the positives and negatives, on the positive side, Moonscar has one of the most fluid combat systems in the Metroidvania genre. I'm truly not over-exaggerating here. It's worth alone due to its combat. Furthermore, the story and dark atmosphere of the game help the combat feel even more gory and impactful. It's hard to follow the plot, but once it clicks, it feels like you are in a well-built and well-thought world. It isn't all good, I'm afraid. Moonscars is one of the shortest Metroidvanias out there. If you are someone that takes their time going through a game, the maximum you can scrap here is maybe 17 hours, which goes almost in line with the €20 price point, but as an avid player of Metroidvanias, I feel like the devs could have added more bosses and new locations with different biomes. It's a lot of lost opportunity here, for sure. Adding to that, the pixelated fonts for map layouts makes it harder to follow the player's map progress, and may even lead some players feeling lost and giving up on the game due to this. The devs have stated that they are aware of this, and an updated map UI will be coming to the game via update on Steam, so it isn't that impactful as a negative, but for players that bought this on launch day, it was a pretty big negative in my opinion. Final thoughts and score. Overall, Moonscars is the first game for an indie studio. There is a lot to learn and a lot of feedback to take in. I truly believe the devs can improve upon that formula and deliver a fantastic sequel, or even a new game in an entirely different genre, if they stick to what worked best, combat and story design. For €20, I would say go out there and buy it if you are a fan of Metroidvanias and love worlds with dark atmosphere. But if you aren't that interested in the genre, maybe best jump in when the game is on sale. That was it for Moonscars, a shorter review, but this was a game that I played before I actually had a YouTube or Twitch. I truly liked it, but I think it's flawed on some aspects, and you can truly tell that it's indie in its nature. I was truly impressed by the combat system. I'm not really exaggerating here. Go out there and buy it if you feel like what you see in gameplay videos, the combat, you truly like. Thanks for seeing this review, and let me know any feedback on the comments. Subscribe if you enjoy the content, and like the video, which helps out a lot. Thank you everyone. See you on the next one. Bye. Hello everyone, welcome to another review on the channel. This time it will be for Moonscars. Moonscars, it surprised me. It's one of the smoothest Metroidvanias